Hey guys, congratulations on your new purchase of your trailer. So I'm David, I'll be doing your walkthrough with you. So what I'm going to do is I'll start around from the front, work my way around and work our way inside. And I'll go over everything as much as I can. If you guys have any questions at the end of the video, you can text me personally at 250-792-0591. You can call me if you want as well, if you guys have any questions, if I failed to miss anything. Okay, well, let's get started. So here is your front of your trailer. This is your tongue. You have a tongue lock, and we provide a tongue lock pin. You have your safety chains, which need to be attached to the trailer. You have your 7-pin plug. So your 7-pin, this does all your clearance lights, blinkers, and it also does the charge line for the trailer. So while you're driving, you will get a charge. But it's only about 3 to 6 amps. It's nothing crazy. So make sure you plug your trailer in before you go camping. If your trailer is dead and you expect your trailer or your truck towing this to charge the battery by the time you get to the campsite, it's not going to happen. Okay, you have your breakaway cable. So your breakaway cable here is connected to the vehicle. And we give you a carabiner for that too, to hook on to the tow vehicle. And what this does is it pulls out a pin at the bottom here. So this is the breakaway switch. So if the trailer ever became disconnected from the vehicle, it would pull this pin and apply the brakes, so the trailer wouldn't barrel down the road and end up hurting somebody. And for that to happen, you have to have a battery on it. It's actually mandatory when you're towing a trailer that you have to have the battery on it and it be charged, because if it goes down the road and it disconnects and there's no battery, or it's a dead battery, it won't apply the brakes, or if it's dead, it won't have enough power to apply the brakes. Okay, so we got the battery. We have, these are your battery cables. You will have a battery box in your trailer. I know we're getting your trailer shipped up right now. It will be here, and we'll have that installed, ready for you guys to go. See if I miss anything else up here. Looks good. You have a latch here. If you guys have a dog, you can hook there. Clearance lights on the top. You've got drain spouts on the top of the trailer to direct the water away from the side of the trailer, because you do get black streaks just from the rubber roofs up top. Doors. Your doors will all be a 751 key on the keys that are provided with you, with your trailer. And that's the wrong key. I'll get my key here. There we go. So you just unlock it. That one's tab. Bring it up, and you got these latches here. Pull them out. Hold the latch. Just be cautious. Make sure you pull that back when you do close the door. There you are, kind of easy to break. You got storage. You got a work light inside. The only thing I'd say, if you guys have an EQ hitch or anything heavy going in and out of these doors, just make sure you don't bend this rail over here, because if this bends back, this seal goes with it, and the door comes and mates onto this. So if this is peeled back and the door comes down, you're driving down the road on a rainy day, the rain will travel in, come up top and go inside and soak your compartment. And the compartment, majority of it is constructed by wood, so you don't want to have any moisture in there. And here you have a solar connection, so you can get little solar connectors, or solar panels that sit outside the unit, and they plug directly into here, and they do charge the battery. You have stabilizer jacks. It's a 3/4 inch socket. What I do is I have a drill with an impact adapter, so I can put a socket on it, and I use my drill on them. It's a lot easier than doing a hand crank. There is a hand crank provided inside with the trailer. You got a fire escape window, so hopefully that never happens, but I'll show you how to open that inside when we get there. You got cable, satellite hookups. Some sites do offer that. You got a vent. This is for your range inside, so when you're cooking, these do latch in. So if you guys are cooking and you wonder why it's not sucking the smoke out, come outside and just stick your finger and make sure this is pulled out. You got an exterior shower. Again, that's your 751 key. And that is hot and cold. You have your freshwater connections, so this is when you're going to a site that doesn't offer pressurized water or any water source. You can fill this from home before you go, and then you'll use the onboard water pump to create pressure for all your faucets. You have an antifreeze line, which is handy for winterizing the unit at the end of the season. You have a city water connection, and in your starter kit that we provide, it has a pressure reducer, and it reduces the pressure to around 60 to 70 psi. And you never know which sites you go to. Some might have 100 or whatnot, and it might be a little too much for the trailer. So it's just a safety device to make sure that the trailer is always getting the correct pressure. Wheels, tires, we inspect wheels, brakes, bearings, air pressure, torque the lug nuts. This is your fridge vent, and this sticking out here is for the freezer. And the freezer, when it defrosts, all the water will come out and drip out here. So your fridge works on a a draft, so it sucks cool air in, exhausts hot air out the top. So just make sure you don't cover these up. If you have this thing in storage and you're using it and you have it tarped, it may not work correctly because the heat cannot escape through the top. You got your furnace here, so just make sure your kids are away from that. It does get hot. You've got your waste holding tanks down here. So you got your cap here. You got your gray on the left hand side, you got your black tank on the right hand side. So when you guys are camping, you have your hose hooked all up. I always suggest keep the black tank closed and check your monitor panels inside, and if you have just let it get to about half tank or 3/4, and then pull the black and flush that out. If you leave the black open, so the black being the toilet, when you go to the bathroom, the solids will land and it'll separate if you leave it open, and it'll just end up clogging it. So always just leave it closed, keep an eye on it and pull it. The gray you can leave open. The only thing I suggest is your last day of camping, leave it closed, fill it up. So when you do dump your black, when you guys are getting ready to pack up, the last thing you want to do is pull the gray, because then you have all the clean gray, well, not clean, but it's a lot better to deal with than the black, to kind of flush and clean the hose out, and then you can handle it and wash your hose out with a garden hose. You got another stabilizer jack. You got your 30 amp power right here, and that cord is provided with you. And in the starter kit there is an adapter, so at home you can plug your 30 amp into a 15 amp adapter, so you can plug it into your household outlets. You have, there's not on this one, but in yours you have bumper caps, so you can keep your sewer hose in here. License plate holder. Spare tire, marker lights up top, and there is a mount for a backup camera. All you have to do is buy the backup camera, and it is already pre-wired. I think it's wireless on this one, so it just basically goes in the mount and away you go. Connects to the truck. You have your hot water tank. So your hot water tank, it runs all electric. There's a switch inside to control on and off, and I'll show you how to do that when we get inside. This is pretty maintenance free, these hot water tanks. The only thing I can suggest is maybe once a year get in here and just take a look around and maybe blow it out. Last thing you want is a bee's nest or whatnot building a nest inside. We've got low point drains. So the purpose of these low point drains is at the end of the season, you're going to have water in all your lines, so you can pop these plugs out, go inside and open up all the faucets inside and on the exterior shower. And what that does is drains all the water out of the lines, because stagnant water in lines creates bacteria. So you want to get that out of the lines over long storage. You got outside speakers. You can control that from the inside stereo. You've got a 15 amp service outside, so you can plug an outside stereo or whatnot. You got a window. Your door you can detach from the main door. It'll act as a screen. You got a bug screen here, and that will also latch to the door. When you shut the door, it will come with the door, or if that's closed, it'll grab it as well. When you guys are traveling, I always put the door handle over the door. That way if the door doesn't latch properly, it won't come open on you. The steps, you just basically lift up, push in. Got another storage on this side. And the awning, it's the lastly on the list on the exterior. So your awning, your control is inside here. Awning, push it for out, down is out. It might be the other way on your trailer, you never know. So that extends it. So when you're bringing the awning out, you want to make sure that when you bring it in, you bring it in the way it's unrolling. Some of the units will actually, if you hold the going out button, it'll continue to wrap around the wrong way, and it's hard on the torsion spring inside the assembly. So let's see if this one does it. Yeah, so that one will continue to roll up. So you want to make sure, and you want that flap there at about right where it is, a 45 degree or a 90 degree angle compared to the fabric. So you got an LED light, and that's inside. So you got LED. Your main lights. Here is your control panel. So, your level indicator. So your battery, it's 1/3. This is a used battery. I just put this on the trailer just to test it and show you guys the workings of the trailer. So you got fresh, black, gray. So black is the one I'm talking about that you leave closed outside. Just keep an eye on it and drain when necessary. So your lights. So there's your water pump. So the fresh water fill I showed you outside that you will put a garden hose in, fill from home and go to a campsite. That's your water pump. You got your gas heater and electric. So your hot water tank is gas and electric. So if you're at a site that offers electric, preferably use that because it won't use propane, because propane will run out eventually, whereas the electricity won't. I think that's it with the hot water. So while we're doing this, we will continue on the propane. So we've just done the hot water tank. So you guys have hooked your propane up, you've turned it on. I'll go make sure my tanks are on. So on your new trailer, because it's new and you guys are taking it right away, what you want to do is turn your tank on. And right now, there was no propane in the lines, so you want to make sure you bleed the lines of air. So the best place to do that is come to the stove top, because it uses the most BTU rating per hour. So you just turn them all on, and you got your igniter here, and make sure you turn it in the right hand direction. And there we go, we have propane. So the flames will kind of flicker yellow and blue, and you want it to be blue. So just leave it on for a little bit and just let it get all the air out. And there we go. So once that's done, make sure you turn them all off, all three of them. You also have a light here on your stove. So that's basically the stove. So turn them on, light them, low settings. The forward one is always the highest BTU rating. So if you want to cook a pot of water, the front one's going to give you the quickest results. When you're traveling, always make sure this glass lid is down. If it's just leaned up and you hit a bump or whatever, this will come down. It's just made of glass and it'll smash. So it's a hot water tank, the stove top. And then we got the furnace. So your furnace control is right here. So you have a tab on the top. To the right is off, to the left is on. So you want to flick that on, and then on the bottom is your temperature control. It's kind of warm out today, so I'm going to have to bring it up quite a bit to get that to turn on. So there we go. The furnace is on, it's going, and it's going to take about 8 seconds to go for its trial of ignition. There we go, it lit. So once it's lit, you have this little vent in the front here you can turn, and it directs the flow of the air, which way you want it to go, if you want it to go up into the ceiling or side to side. And that's pretty much it. So once that temperature setting's selected, it'll heat up until it reaches a satisfied temperature, and then it'll shut the furnace off, and then when the temperature goes below the set temperature, it'll turn back on. So we'll move on to the fridge. So the fridge is electric and propane. So you have an on button. So right now it's on and it's pushed in right now for auto. Auto is lit up. So what that means is if you are plugged in for electricity, it's going to choose electricity over gas because electricity isn't going to run out on you. It's propane will. But if you're going camping or you just got the trailer hooked up ready to go, you can turn it on gas. You are allowed to have the fridge working on propane in BC while you're driving down the road. So to push the button out is to go to gas. You'll see the way the button there beside gas. And if this light beside check stays lit, that means it didn't light. And then what I would do if that ever happens, turn it off, turn it on, because it just could potentially be air in the system. You may have forgot to bleed the stove when you swapped over the propane tanks. You just latch the doors. So you got this plastic here on the side of the fin here, and it's warmer down, colder up. So you can slide this up or down depending. If you're noticing your stuff in your fridge is freezing up on you, just slide it down the fin and that'll make it warmer, and that doesn't change the temperature of the freezer. It only changes the temperature of the fridge. Okay, and that's all the propane. In your unit you've got 110 outlets all over the unit, and a lot of them are GFI protected. So if there's any a fault or something falls in water or whatnot and pops the breaker, come in the bathroom and your main GFCI will be right here, and there'll be a little light that's red. So if you're wondering why you have no power on your outlets, it could potentially be your GFCI here as well. So your bathroom, pretty straightforward. You got your faucets, you got storage. It might be a little different in your unit. I'm just going to go over the basics here. So your toilet, the toilet I could only say is when you're using the toilet, give it a hard close when you end up flushing. A lot of people will gradually close it, and sometimes it won't close the water valve on the actual toilet, and it'll continue to dump water into the bowl. So just always make sure you give her a nice shut. And you can use chemicals in your toilet to kind of help break things down. Let's turn the furnace off. I'm not sure where your converter will be located in your unit, but it's going to be the same as this one. So this is your converter. So this does your charging when you're plugged in for your batteries. Carries all your main breakers, so your air conditioner, your GFI breakers, your water heater for the electric. These are on this side, and then on the other side is all your 12-volt fuses. So if anything blows on your 12-volt side, it'll actually illuminate a little red light beside the fuse. So it kind of makes it foolproof of letting you know which one's blowing or not. And they're all marked beside it too, which ones, so lights, furnace, etc. So the table, it does fold down into a bed. What else we got here? Your microwave. Your microwave will only work on 110. So when you're plugged in, if you guys do a lot of dry camping, an inverter might be an option for you. You can get that installed, and so you can convert battery power 12 volt into 110, and you could use your appliances like your microwave for a short period of time. You've got your air conditioner. So you've got the settings up top here. So you can have it on fan, which will just blow the fan, and it's good for when you're running your furnace. It'll circulate the heat throughout the unit. Or you got high cool, low cool, which is the air conditioner, and you got temperature selector, and that's going to tell it when to turn off the compressor for the air conditioner when it's reaching its desired temperature. Up on the ceiling here we have our stereo on the cabinet. So our stereo, it's USB, HDMI, so you do have a TV. You could plug in HDMI and broadcast it to the TV. You have your antenna and your cable hookups here, and power for your TV. This is a TV backer. I'm unsure on your unit if it's identical to this one, but I'll explain it anyway. Okay, and so with the outside speakers, it'll be zone 1 and zone 2 that you'll hit, and when you hit zone 2 it'll turn it on, and then you just adjust the volume. Okay, well I think I've gone over everything of, oh, the fire escape. So you just lift your blind, pull this tab, lift it out, push it out, and you pull this screen out by this tab, yank the screen out, and that window will open right up, and you'll be able to get out. Okay, well, I think that sums it up. And again, you guys can call me or text, whatever you like, if you guys are experiencing any issues or if I've forgotten anything. Don't hesitate to let me know. Before I go, the safety fire smoke detector, you're coming today, so we'll make sure that's working before you go. You have a propane detector too. So you have a propane detector, and what that does is propane's heavier than air. It'll float down and it will set that off and let you know if you have a propane leak, or maybe you've left one of these on. Also, be careful with cleaning products around it. If you get cleaning products, it's a sensitive sensor on it, and I've heard stories of people putting cleaners on it by accident. The thing just keeps going off, and they're really annoying to go off when you're camping. So you got your propane smoke detector, and then lastly a fire extinguisher. So that's right beside the door, so hopefully you never have to use it. Well, anyways, you guys, I hope you guys have a great camping trip, and rock on.